Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, Fabulous. This is Angela. I'm doing a walk and talk. I'm at the Museum of Arab American History. Is that where it is, what it is? In Dearborn, Michigan. And I was just thinking about, actually this morning when I was walking, I was thinking about side chicks, side pieces, and this whole idea. And apparently, I guess the word on the street, it started off as supposed to be a rumor that there was going to be a show called The Side Chicks of Charlotte, The Side Pieces of Charlotte. And it looks like, from what I can gather, it's a real thing. It's not like a joke or a meme or anything. So I have some thoughts about it. I guess the first thing I think is, people are like, well, these women, they date married men. And I'm like, well, I think I'm still one of those people that's of the opinion. The men are the one, if he's married, he's the one who made a commitment, not this woman. So I don't know why we get so mad at these supposed, women are so despicable because they date married men. But what about how despicable and upset we should be with these men who date married women? We don't really have names for that. I guess that's a cheater, but we don't have special names that are high on the despicability scale for men who are married, who, dishonor, the agreement that they made with their wife. So that's one. And then two, I kind of feel like people are like, back in my day, and I heard people my age say it, back in my day, side pieces knew their place, and they would stay in their place, and they wasn't proud to be side pieces. And I'm like, back in what day? I've always known, there's always been messiness with women, oh my God, he has an outside child, and the mama came and she brought the baby, or, he dating this woman, and she showed up, and she called the wife, and she told the wife. I mean, y'all ain't never heard of that? I think that that's common. That ain't nothing new. So I guess that's that. And then what else do I think about the side pieces? I think that this whole, I'm watching Harlots now. I think, another thing, I think a lot of these women on these shows are side pieces. Like, part of the reason don't tell anybody I said this, part of the reason I'm watching Basketball Wives is because I'm kind of curious about, the baby mama of Gabrielle Union's man. I don't even know who Gabrielle Union's man is. I barely know who Gabrielle Union is, but I've seen her, I've heard of her, and the fact that there's like some drama and some bochinche, and like, who is this woman and what's the situation? I want to know. That's kind of, so a lot of these women, aren't a lot of these women on these shows side pieces? And then it's kind of like, I feel like there's this whole hierarchy, like when we watch Wags, and some of y'all might have heard me talk about this before, but we figured out, me and my mother have figured out, we haven't totally gotten it figured out, but there's like this hierarchy, It's like if you can get in and screw around with a player, that's like you on the scale. It's like you got past the velvet rope. And then if you could, get involved with them, as a side piece, that's better than being a nothing. A side piece is better than being a nobody. And then if you can become a baby mama or a girlfriend where he's claiming you, that's like a step up the hierarchy. And then if you can become, a wife or a girlfriend, woohoo! But that still don't mean he's faithful to you, or that he's respectful to you, or that that's a good situation or a good relationship for you, right? Yeah. So, I think there's like a whole hierarchy, and I think we see the hierarchy play out a lot on these shows. So, can y'all see the museum? Look at this. I don't know if you can see, but there's like an atrium, and it goes up. Look at that. It's smaller, much smaller than the Charles H. Wright Museum, it seems to be. But it is it's beautiful. Look, I'm going to come into the exhibit for a minute, but I think it's too dark in here. This is their main exhibit. I want to go through it. Maybe when the next movie starts. I'm supposed to be watching the movies, but so anyway, are you going to watch the side pieces of Charlotte? Are you upset about somebody being a side piece? And then, okay, so then just this whole idea of power dynamics, and a lot of these men, like when I'm watching Wags or when I'm watching these shows, I'm like, ew, who would want to be with those guys anyway? These relationships look terrible. Like years ago when I first saw T.I. and Tiny on the television, when she was trying to get him to marry her, I guess she had been with him for a while. She was a baby mama and she wanted to like get promoted to wife, and she was really fighting hard to get promoted to wife. I'm like, girl, to me, I mean, I don't know what it's like inside of your relationship. I don't know what it's like inside of your life, but I'm like, he don't really look like no prize to me. And then the way he's behaved here recently, toward her, he sure doesn't give the impression of being a prize, does he? Or, I mean, I guess a prize is subjective. What's a prize to one person may not be a prize to another person. But he's never looked, it's like she was fighting so hard to be with this man, and it's kind of like, or it looked like she was fighting really hard to show him that she was deserving and worthy and she was a good woman. And it's like, you might be a good woman, but you're probably not a good woman for him, because you got to be a good woman for somebody who appreciates you and values you. And, you got to appreciate and value yourself. So she fighting so hard to be with this guy. And a lot of these people, these athletes, like on wax and stuff, they come across as assholes. I'm not saying that they are, but they don't really come across as very attractive, aside from the fact that they have money. Thinking about this TV show Harlots, I like how it's called Harlots, and it's like, so I kind of like the people in Charlotte being like, yeah, we side pieces. I like to deal with married men, and this is why. Because I feel like if you're grown and you do what you want to do, I think that that's what grown people do. I think that's more or less what grown people should do if you're not hurting another person. And I don't know, if you're wrecking a home, but it's kind of like, I feel like the man is the one who's wrecking the home. I wouldn't voluntarily get involved with someone who I knew was involved with somebody else, because that just don't seem like a pleasant or productive environment for me. I'm not really interested in, being in a relationship with, me plus other people that feel like mess and confusion to me. But for somebody else, that might be the ideal situation. They just see the person occasionally, and they ain't got to worry about being bothered with them other than that. But a lot of these men, they don't seem to be attractive, other than their money. Now, maybe they are really cool people and they just don't come across good on TV. I don't know. But it seemed like these women be fighting hard for them because of their money. And it seemed like even if you look at the little poster for the side pieces of Charlotte, I guess the men are fighting for the women because, of their assets. And their assets seem to be similar, light skin, long straight hair, big butts, big boobs, or, some combination of that. They all kind of look similar to me, and they all kind of seem to have a similar way of moving and being in the world. So they almost do seem to be like interchangeable with like a side piece. Like you could just take this piece out and switch in another side piece, I don't know. So I feel like, it's grown-ups, and if they have something that if they're comfortable with the exchange and it works for them, then I feel like it's cool. I used to have an aunt, I don't know if it's true, I never talked to her, but her husband, from what I heard, was known for dealing with he was married to her, but he was known for he was known to deal with other women. And her thing is, as long as he come home to me, that's cool. And she was like the first one to have a washing machine and dryer when washing machine and dryers came out, maybe in her neighborhood, maybe in her family, maybe in the world, I don't know. But I mean, she felt like she got out of it, according to what I've heard through the grapevine. Again, I never spoke to her about it, but the impression that I got is that she was happy, he was happy, and they all happy. So the side pieces he had were probably happy, she was happy, and he was happy. If that's, I don't know. But I feel like if everybody happy, why am I mad about it, So I don't know. I think I might want to write about it. And I like, on the TV show Harlots, where it's like, look, I'm straight up a harlot, I'm a prostitute, or I'm looking for a man to be a keeper, and we have an agreement, and he signs this document, and he's going to pay, me 400 pounds a year, and he's going to pay all my expenses, and, this is our arrangement. Because, like, even if you look at the Real Housewives of Potomac, I'm looking at Miss Ashley, and I'm like, I don't know what kind of agreement they have, I don't know what kind of arrangement they have, I don't know what kind of prenup they have, but I kind of feel like, I hope she had a contract for that business, and I hope that she's part owner in the business, and I hope that she had a prenup, and I hope that she was clear, just in terms of what was going on. I feel like a lot of times, women trade what they have to trade with men who trade what they have to trade. Very often what men have to trade is money and power, and very often what women feel that they have to trade is their body and our vibration. So, yeah, and I think, I want to explore a little bit, but not now, but just talk about this whole pro vaginal prostitute and whole pro and vaginal prostitute. That's something that Goddess Shoe did this talk years ago, and I thought that was just like a whole really interesting concept. But I like the idea of, calling a thing, calling a side chick a chick, a side piece a piece. Call a thing a thing. I like that. So I'm looking forward, to watching at least the first episode of the show. I don't know if I'm necessarily here for all of the fighting and the hair pulling, and I'm not there for that. But I am here for grown people being like, look, this is who I am, this is what I do, and what you gonna do. So just walking and talking. I didn't stop walking because I was coming in and out of light so bad. But about the side chicks, side pieces of Charlotte, and about side piece of nation in general. And yeah, so that's what I got. I don't know. I have some thoughts about this though, because I have some thoughts. But anyway, that's what I got for right now, y'all. Be you, be fabulous, be fabulous. I'm walking down the stairs now. Ooh, what about this up here? Can you see the ceiling? Can you see this map here? It's got light in front of it, so you probably can't see it, but it's a map of Africa. And then it's got photos all around. It says the Arab world map. So, all right, good people. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous, you. Peace.